So I enjoyed this episode. There's really 3 global categories of content to talk about here. One is Kody, disaster. Robyn, potentially dishonest. Definitely took the personality test, which we'll talk about. And then the last category is Christine, in love. So let's start with Kody. If you're new here, David Colarossi, I'm a licensed psychologist, and for fun, I make YouTube videos about pop culture, and I try to connect the events in pop culture with concepts in psychology. So let's start with Kody. Kody was in rare form, but Kody was in Kody form. But I feel like he's getting progressively more explicit about his misogynistic ideals. I think he does a fair bit of impression management. He thinks before he speaks, I believe. I think he intends to come across as philosophical and deep and caring and compassionate. And I think he has this view of himself that he's trying to portray to the audience. And then you hear him sort of walk through his thinking, and you're just like, or I'm like, what the hell is going on in your mind? So in this episode, he starts by saying, he's asked by Suki, all of your wives, Christine, Janelle, Mary, have been at some point reluctant to leave you because of the covenant. They believe in the covenant of marriage and they don't want to break it. You have Janelle that's like totally checked out, but she's hanging on. You have Mary that's been suffering for years and is just finally leaving. And Kody goes, yeah. I don't believe in that covenant if the covenant breaks if it involves the dissolution of my soul.
Promise that we made to each other so many years ago.
Yeah, that
30 plus years.
Doesn't include the dissolution of my soul or personality.
And then he says, and if my wives can't figure that out, if they can't figure out how to make me happy, then it's sort of on them and the covenant no longer means anything. And he doesn't even think about the experience of his wives, right? You have Mary who has, talk about somebody who has suffered at the hands of Kody's neglect. You think her soul is as vibrant as it was 10 years ago? Of course not. But Kody doesn't even clock the fact that there are other people that are being impacted by his behavior. My issue is not that Kody wants a divorce from Mary. I get on here every week and I say what an a-hole Kody is. It's not because I think he should stay with her. I just think that everybody in that family should have the same right to protect themselves as Kody. The other piece of Kody that I think is worth talking about, and I've mentioned it before, every once in a while in these tell-alls or when he's interviewed by TLC, Kody goes dark. And I can't tell if he's being performative about it or not. My sense is that he's not. I think that he really does, as he said, hate his life. I think that he is in an incredible amount of distress. I think it's challenging to see it because he oftentimes presents like he has everything together. He comes across as overconfident, but I think it's really him hiding the fact that he's in pain. Oftentimes when people are in pain and angry, they engage in really damaging behaviors. And in that case, I would worry about his safety. I don't know his level of distress and how he handles his distress. I thought it was interesting in the episode for this week, he talked about his distress sort of leading to him being provoked by the devil and having temptation, like he's going to act out and go sleep with another woman. I think we're starting to see more and more moments with Kody where he's kind of asking the audience and his wives to take care of him. I think he probably does need help and support. I think he probably can't handle the amount of scrutiny he's under. I don't think he really knows what to do, and I think that's leading to a lot of distress for him. And I personally believe that that's sincere. I also was very proud of Mary when she said, "It's no longer my problem." Suki was like, are you worried about the fact that Kody's so distressed? And she said, I'm not, I have to move on. Because the truth is, she does. She can't be in this savior role and try and protect him. And without question, she spent years in pain, and he never tried to protect her. So hopefully he gets the support from Robyn. Hopefully he gets the support from his network. And honestly, if I were advising him, I would say, stop doing this show. You don't need to do the show. It's not helping you. It's hurting you. But the sense I get is that he's just financially locked in, so he has to do it. So that's Kody. Now let's talk about Robyn. Robyn, first of all, TLC has done a very bad job of explaining what happened with this text line and this gift exchange. I have my view of it, and I've been told by my commenters that I am way off base. But if you read my commenters, they don't agree with each other. And if you listen to my wife, she doesn't agree with me or the comment. Like, nobody knows. The reason why we all don't know exactly what happened is because I think TLC has been intentionally vague. Like, we can't get a single linear story about what happened. And I understand that they can't show us the text line, but I wish someone would step up and say, here's what happened, here's how it happened, here's why it happened, without having some biased view of it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, on this episode, Robyn, Christine, who is ready to torch everybody in the show, says, hey, Robyn took a personality test. We all did when we were in therapy, and she is this dramatic type. And then Robyn was asked about it, and she goes, I never took that assessment. It turns out she did, and I know that because the Sister Wives fans are like intense and into the details. I can't tell you how many people have commented back to me. It was season 10. It was episode 6. She definitely took it. There's a video of her taking it. And so she needs to be held to account. I don't know why TLC doesn't ever sort of do a smash cut to reality. There's so many times where people say things in the show that are untrue. The fans know it, but TLC doesn't follow it up by saying, hey, here's the actual picture of her taking the assessment. So anyway, people sent me clips of her taking the assessment, and I could listen to Christine reading off the assessment as people were taking it. And the first prompt is, I've been romantic and imaginative, or I've been pragmatic and down to earth. If you type that into Google, you will find that that comes from the Enneagram. So that's the test they took. So let me just say this. The Enneagram is a fun assessment for, just for this. If you're doing therapy and you want everybody in the family to get kind of a picture of who they are and the purpose is team building or uniting people, the test makes sense. But it is not a valid psychometric assessment. And I have done a video, like a deep dive video into the Enneagram, which I will link here. I made it 3 years ago. I was just starting this YouTube thing, so it's kind of funny to see, a David with a little bit more hair, the same bad style, and a messy office. But I sort of go deep dive into the Enneagram and why it's not a good measure of personality. Now, you're probably wondering, what type is Robyn? And because I'm not diagnosing her with this, I'm just sort of reading between the lines, I feel comfortable saying I think she's a 4 based on Christine's description of Robyn. Now, I don't think that Robyn agrees with this description, but if you go look up a 4, I can see why Christine would feel like it fits Robyn. A 4 is, the type is one that is more withdrawn, more self-interested, more emotional, and works hard to protect their emotional experience. At their best, they can be more creative and, caring about other people. But when they're put under pressure, their goal is to find themselves, and oftentimes that leads to really clingy behavior. And I have a hard time saying that and not going that does kind of describe her. So I get how they got there. Again, it's not a valid tool. It's not measuring personality. And so, interpret with caution. Now, Christine. I love Christine. Everybody loves Christine. And this conversation about David drives me nuts. I like it. She's in love and good for her. And as my wife said, she can finally spread her wings. And so she's excited about that. I don't know how many people she dated before him, but when she was describing in the show, it felt like she Like, he may have been one of the first people that she interacted with, and she falls in love hard, and it sounds like a fairy tale. Part of me is a little bit worried about, hey, have you been with him long enough, or are you rushing to another relationship? And I feel that way because I don't know that it doesn't come across like she is mature in how she thinks about the relationship. This whole idea of, he always says the right thing, I wanted to stare into his blue eyes for eternity, and, once we kissed, I knew, fireworks went off, it was like a Hollywood story, and we're mates for life, he's the one, yes, and she's like, yes, 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 and she's just couldn't be giddier. Like, it's a little bit over the top for me, and it's like, why do I really care? I don't really care. My only sort of caution would be, I wouldn't want someone to hear that and think that that's what love looks like. That's what lust looks like. You need to be with somebody longer and have a deeper relationship to be in love, at least the way I think about it. And so that's my only sort of, old man David complaining about how Christine's approaching it. But I am happy for her, and I look forward to seeing the wedding. It's a 2-part series or 2-part episode in February, which I will watch. So thank you for listening. Let me know what you thought in the comments below.